Hello guys, it's back. Joshua Tree, site to race number 11, the Coke Vanilla Cup Series, and it's time for qualifying. This ought to be fun. We're waiting for the first car to kind of jump out onto the track, and Southern California blessing us with some nice weather here in the desert today. 78 degrees and sunny with light winds here today. Right here on Highway 62. There's Dylan Casella first out onto the track. So these guys are going to take really long laps here. Dylan Casella was in the DNQ race last week. The Post-it Ford comes into this race 50th in the owner's points, so that should be interesting. We'll have to see how these guys can deal with that wall here in practice for trying to qualify their cars into the race. That's going to be a very hectic spot over the course of the weekend, but Dylan Casella navigating that just fine coming off pit road. Alex Perkle second on the track. That car is 21st in the owner's points coming in. DNQ'd our most recent race at Martinsville. Alex Perkle looking for a rebound. It's been a very good season so far for the driver of the number one. Jeff James comes into this race 17th in the owner's points, 16th in drivers. And obviously we'll get to that one later when we talk about Theo. But Jeff James doing a very good job at the start of the season. Oh my god, Perkle got close to that wall. Worth mentioning, we're not going to worry about backup cars today. This is not going to be one of the backup tracks because damage turned off specifically for Joshua Tree just because of the craziness that can ensue here on this racetrack. In fact, actually, let's watch Jeff James here and see if he actually comes up with some of this, as there's Sam Curtis. Okay, they didn't. But okay, so talking about Sam Curtis here in the number 66. That team, a great job coming off the win at Martinsville. They're in the All-Star race this season. But they're not in the chase yet because that team, or that driver there's 36th in driver's points. The team is 37th in the owner's points. They're going to have to make another one if they want to be able to be in the chase for the Coke Vanilla Cup Series title. Kyle Collins brings out the Speedway car yet again for the Road Course Super Speedway mix here of Joshua Tree. And Kyle Collins comes into this race. Okay, there he is. 24th in the owner's points as Jeff James goes to the top of the speed charts right now. But Collins is 23rd in drivers. The team is 24th in the owner's points, so that's not exactly safe. But, I mean, anything can happen here this weekend. We'll have to see how he can do. Jessica Shelton just getting up to speed in the 43 here. 38th in the owner's points coming in for the Cascadian Farms number 43. Didn't have a very good showing last week. No fault of her own. Got caught a lot down through the pit strategies. But still able to salvage a somewhat decent day. They're still in the top 42 in owner's points. Probably going to have to make it in on speed though if they want to race. DJ Curtis. Boy, this guy's been impressive this season. 11th in the points, 11th in owners because of that as well in the 14. Doing a great job this season right now, but didn't have the best of showings last weekend as Jeff James once again hops up to the top of the charts. Brian Patterson now up to the top. But DJ Curtis, not the best showing last week, still finds himself pretty high up in the points as there's Kyle Collins. Probably got the wall. Oh boy, look out. This could be hazardous. There. Okay, there we go. That's what I was talking about. Oh, Jeff James and Alex Perkle have wrecked. Oh, hello. And like I said, good thing we're not doing the backup cars. Ash Curtis will, oh, okay, well, might as well start going around talking about people this way. Momo Akari finds himself 19th quickest right now as Levi McIntyre is top of the boards. Boy, 1 week after Roush had all 6 of their cars DNQ, they're actually showing speed. Look out. Momo Akari, though, finds herself 7th in the points coming into place today, so that's a great job for Momo Akari there. Not going to be exactly locked in, but probably not going to be terribly in danger yet of missing the race either. Then there's this guy, Max Neuwirth. Led some laps last week in a great showing at Martinsville for the 4 car. That was only the 2nd race they've made all season long, and it boosted them up from 59th to 54th in the owner's points. A great showing for Max Neuwirth last week. Very impressive. Looking good this weekend so far. 9th quickest on the board. Looking to make another one and hopefully have a good showing. Will Lewis needs to improve, but his time isn't there yet, so Will Lewis, I would expect that time to improve. Dead last in the owner's points coming in, dead last in driver's points as well. Will Lewis not having a very good season here, and not quite sure where his future lies. There's actually a couple drivers who announced some plans earlier this week. We'll get to those guys later. And so Will Lewis looking pretty lackluster again here today. Preston Plord currently finds himself 19th quickest on the board at a minute 12, now 25, just jumped back up to 19th, as Dylan Casella went number 1 on the board at a minute 10:58. Preston Plord, 12th in the points coming in that Morgan Fleur 04 car. A great job this season for Preston to get into these races. There goes Mason Powers jumping up and down. Talked about Dylan Casella. Kyle Matthews finds himself 18th quickest right now at a minute 11:12. He's actually up to 6th now. Kyle is 26th in the owner's points coming in, 25th in drivers. So not having too good of a year. Not a lot to say. He made the DNQ race last week, or was in the DNQ race last week as Neuwirth got the wall. So Matthews looking good this week. Looks like he should be able to make the race. Looking at guys who we know will race. Sky Commons here, 5th in the points coming in. Currently 11th quickest on the speed charts. Doing a great job right now in this number 10 car this year. Coming off a decent run, mid-20s there at Martinsville. Nothing to write home about too much, but still a decent run to keep him up there. Closed in some ground on Tom Shelley and the rest of the guys up ahead of him. But Sky Commons comes in this race 5th in points. He actually lost a spot to Steve Pollard, as Ash Curtis jumps up to number 1. Talked about DJ. Here's Theo Stegall. This car is 16th in the owner's points with Theo. They're obviously not doing too good on driver's points, but the driver's points doesn't matter when you look at making the race. Theo, though, 5th quickest right now at a minute 10:80. Great job by Theo so far to get these cars into the race on their speed. They actually didn't have to use a provo last week because with where Theo ran his time, he was actually good enough for 37th, which was where they started. So Theo did not have to use a provo last week. Mason Powers just ran his quickest lap of the session, moved himself up to 15th quickest at a minute 11:38 with a 9. A great job by Mason so far. They're really low in the owner's points, 57th in points coming in. Looking for a good showing here. Oh, Purple, wow. Well, and there's some hopping going on. Brent Patterson finds himself 7th quickest right now. He just ran his quickest lap of the session. Graham Patterson obviously DNQ'd last race because all the Roush cars did. Wasn't a very good showing for him last week, but looks like they're rebounding a little bit. They got some pace here this week. I'm getting like twisted up in my own cable. Sorry about that. Jake Bassinger currently 19th quickest at a minute 11:47. I think he got the wall his last lap. Bassinger has to make it on his speed. He's actually one of the lowest in points right now. Had a rough couple last weeks there with the 18. Ben Neuwirth is 20th quickest right now. He just ran his quickest lap of the session. Bad Boy Motors number 23. And Neuwirth is 36th in the owner's points coming in, so that speed going to be very questionable, and as a result going to be questionable on if Neuwirth makes the race. Chris Louvier finds himself on pit road, and he's had a rough couple weeks. Has made the last 2 DNQ races right now. And finds himself 23rd quickest right now. Might be in line to make it 3 in a row as Jeff James just jumped up to number 1. Stephen Paul III, 26th quickest right now. Ouch. 14th in the points coming in for the 33. That's for drivers and owners points, so looks like Stephen might be having to rely on a provo. This scheme really sums up this race weekend here. Oh man, the dark and spooky Halloween scheme for the number 38 of Mary Shelley. And currently 19th quickest for the driver who is... Where is she? 20th in owner's points coming in. So 19th quickest, that's going to be questionable on speed. Can she get a good lap here off of the 2 of Momokari? No. John Zorling finds himself 13th quickest right now. He's also one of the bottom guys in the points. 56th? 55th actually. Bassinger's 56th. In owner's points at least. So Zorline not doing so hot either. But it looks like he might be able to make this one. Well, the points leader's definitely going to be using a Provo. Tire Kingdom on board, and right now Tom Shelley is slowest out of the 29 cars. He has no help out there though, which probably a safe bet here. He knows he's going to race. Just work on the car all by itself as, well, he got the wall. Oh, and he's in the dirt. That ain't good. Oh, look out, Kyle Matthews. Well, Shelley not looking good right now to make this race on his speed. Probably going to have to rely on the points. Gene Sanford is currently 26th quickest in this session. Ouch. Going to look to get a draft on this lap and try and improve on it. Gene Sanford is 6th in points coming in. And that speed is not going to be good enough to make this race. Hiroshi Kazuyoshi is 5th quickest. Wow, that is impressive. They are 42nd in the owner's points, though, coming into this race. So the speed, dire importance there for Kazuyoshi. Troy Kang is 28th in point, or 28th on the speed charts. He's 9th in the points. So another guy high up there who's not looking too good. As I thought Shelley might have been able to improve on his lap maybe, or maybe he's actually just finishing that other lap. Alex Hawkins is currently 16th quickest at an 11:05 there with the 8. Oh man. Alex Hawkins has to make it in on speed. 44th in the owner's points coming in. Haven't talked about Ash Curtis. He is 4th quickest though. Great job for Ash this session as someone, they just got the ball there. As you see Levi McIntyre, he's 3rd quickest. He pretty much had to make it on speed. He's 29th in drivers, 30th in the owner's points. Ash Curtis was an absolute has to make it in on speed. As now what we'll do is we'll follow some people. Let's see what Tom Shelley can do on this lap. He passed some people that time. Up to 27th. Gonna watch Jessica Shelton here on the lap. She's currently 19th quickest, tied with Max Neuwirth. By the way, speeds you saw there 250 miles an hour. That is with the restrictor plate on this track. Speeds very high here on this racetrack. And like I said, we are blessed with the fact that it is nice and cool, 78 degrees. As time's up. Wow, that actually took a lot longer than I thought it would. So, drivers having to rely on provos. Shelley's going to. Gene Sanford's 6th in the points will have to rely on it. Pollard, who is 14th in the owner's points, is going to look to have to use it. Drivers who we are pretty sure will miss the race: Mason Powers, Will Lewis. There's the official gun there. Will Lewis, we are pretty sure will miss. Well, Sam Curtis has provo points he could use. Momo Akari going to have to rely on points. Troy King. There's 4 guys who are pretty high up in points who probably going to have to rely on it. But Jeff James, Preston Plord, Bram Patterson, Levi McIntyre, Ash Curtis, and Hiroshi Kazuyoshi, they know they will race. Just a matter of where they will start. And you look at probably Jake Bassinger, 18th at a minute 11:13, as the person on the bubble to make it in on speed. We will be right back, and we will show you group number 2 right after these commercial. Well, right after this. I was going to say commercial break, but oh well. And we are back for group number 2, and Matt Dixon already going out onto the track. And not a lot to say on Matt Dixon, really. He knows he has to make it in on speed. He has pretty much all season. Worth mentioning that with Hiroshi Kazuyoshi getting into the top 6, or no, it's Ash Curtis actually. Dylan Thoreau out of this session will have to qualify in on speed. This is actually going to freeze again, sorry. Professionalism, I know. Trying to get this into a good spot over here on the side of my screen, sorry. But, okay, there we go. It's about as best I can get it. Matt Dixon, he knows he'll have to qualify on speed. Not sure if what to expect really from Dixon. It's been a rough season for Chip Ganassi Racing, and especially Dixon. Eric and Rage looking to rebound. He was in the DNQ race last week and didn't have a very good showing in it either. So Eric and Rage trying to rebound here. Fell to, where did he fall to? 23rd in the owner's points is where he fell to. So definitely looking to make it a better time this time around for Eric and Rage. There's Dylan Young, 2nd in the points. Could not capitalize on being a point behind Tom Shelley last week, as both of them struggled mightily, and he lost about 12 or 15 points or so in that one. Dylan Young looking to rebound here in the Budweiser Chevrolet. They're going retro this week with the old Ralph Earnhardt scheme, I believe is what it is based off of, but I could be wrong on that. I probably will get corrected on it if I am. Cosmic Nova in the 41 moved his way up to 34th in the owner's points. A little bit off that bubble now, but still not comfortable enough to really be able to say he can make it on points if he were to miss the top 46 on speed. Jim Casella, the DLP Hall of Fame Racing number 96. Another team that had a very good showing last weekend, or at least decent. They finished on the lead lap, which is saying something for Martinsville last week. Jim Casello, though, moved his way up to 28th in the driver's points. They're up to 29th in the owners for Hall of Fame racing. So not too bad of a job there for the 96. There's Ashley LaPlante, the 31. Almost going to get the wall, but there was a wreck up in front of him. Ashley LaPlante is now 19th in the owners' points coming in. They actually fell a little bit more with a rough showing at Martinsville. 18th in the points, though, for drivers for Ashley. So doing a good job for the race winner this season at California. Axel Casella going to get held up by Matt Dixon there. And Axel Casella comes into this race 18th in the owner's points, so not too bad there for the 80. Definitely a lot better than probably a lot of people thought they would do this season for Stan Huber Motorsports. But Axel Casella doing it really well there in that underfunded number 80. Chris Washer brings out CarQuest this week. Currently finds himself 6th quickest. And for Washer, he comes into this race 13th in the owner's points. So not doing too bad there for Chris Washer. As Austin LaPlante jumped up to number 1. And I don't think there's too much shock in who jumped up to number 2. Well, now he's down to 4, but hey, oh well. Chris Washer there, now down to 10th quickest. 13th in the owner's points, looking pretty good here to make it this week, I would think. There's the guy who has to make it on speed right now and currently would do so. He's 3rd quickest as Ish Taylor jumps back up to number 1. Careful there with the hops there, Dylan Thoreau. 3rd quickest though right now. 41st in the owner's points coming in for Dylan Thoreau. Looking pretty good to make this race. Charles Jackson finds himself 4th quickest. He's one of the guys who I brought up about talking where they announced some rides. Charles Jackson announcing a contract extension with the number 9. I believe is for about 2 seasons probably. I'd have to double check on that one. But Charles Jackson confirming that he will return to Evernham Motorsports in the number 9 next season for 2007. Not looking too bad though right now. 6th quickest. He has to make it on speed. Jay Stella bringing out the U.S. Army here. Fitting scheme considering Joshua Tree, California, not too far away from the 29 Palms military base. So bringing out the Army scheme for the veterans who are in this town. A great scheme to bring out for this race weekend for Jay Stella. 14th quickest, has to make it in on speed. The Squishy Mobile is back and it is quick this weekend. 2nd quickest right now for the 05 in his hometown race. Has a lot of friends and family out here for this one. And you know Charles Sanford and pretty much Gene Sanford as well. Looking for a great showing here this weekend. Gene Sanford not terribly quick in the first practice or in the first group. Charles Sanford though looking really strong right now. Sam Young currently finds himself 18th quickest. And for Sam, he comes into this race 22nd in the owner's points, 21st in the driver's points. So Sam Young looking fairly good. That speed is a bit iffy though. I don't know with how many of those top guys actually had to make it in on probably their provos. It's going to be interesting where the points actually fall. Kenny Bale probably going to be a DNQ right now if this continues. 39th in the owner's points and he's 29th quickest. Yikes. That is not good if you are the driver of the number 11. Kenny Bale, 2nd slowest. The only guy slower than him is Matt Dixon. Mason Neal right now 12th quickest. Or sorry, up to 8th quickest. Or the number 12 is 8th quickest. Kenny Bale just jumped up to 7th. Good job for Kenny Bale. Okay, so Mason Neal 8th quickest and 8th in the points. A great job by Mason Neal coming up through the points right now. That Penske Dodge looking strong right now with the rookie behind the wheel. Matthew Marias currently 24th quickest. Not looking good enough to make it in. He has to make it in on speed. Zach Kreller currently 13th quickest. That's not that bad actually. 31st in the points, or 31st in the owner's points coming in. He is actually 30th in the drivers. Doesn't have the win, so that really doesn't matter for the sake of making the chase right now. But Zach Kreller looking a little bit better this week. Tristan Wilhoit finds himself on the bubble. And this is actually one of the rides that had some news out of it this weekend, announcing that Jessica Shelton would be going over to the 21 car next season. Switching from the Petty 43, which has done decently this season, to the Wood Brothers 21, which has not looked good, but is turning it around right now. 45th in the owner's points. They still have to make it on speed, but they've been doing a lot better as of late. Allie Nelson finds herself 16th quickest right now in the 22 car. And that's a team that is 35th in the owner's points coming in, so they are not looking terribly safe if they needed it. Worth mentioning, we have not gone down to the time yet from 6th quickest in the other session. So that's a very interesting thing there. I don't know where the times fall right now. Gonna move this over a little bit so the screen will freeze again. I can't get it over there. I was trying to get it over far enough to see where the 11 started. Not able to do so, unless I do that. But Allie Nelson not looking terribly good right now, or terribly safe. That 11.8, yeah, that's slow. Austin LaPlante is 5th quickest right now, but that 11.26 would be terrible in comparison. So right now he would be in on the fact of top 7. These speeds are not lining up this week. Maybe it's just because it's Joshua Tree. But Austin LaPlante 5th quickest right now. He knows he would race if that held up. Austin comes into this race 28th in drivers, or owners points, I mean. Ashley Brock just ran her fastest lap of the race, which put her 13th quickest at an 11.51. Again, that time not looking good. It's 14th quickest, but it's not looking like a good time. Ashley had to make it in on speed as well. Steve Pollard knows that he will race, but his time is looking terrible. It's 4th in the points. Might have to go to a provo. He's 22nd on the board. Yeah. Daniel Day, as there's problems there with Ish Taylor. Daniel Day is 4th quickest now, as Kenny Bale just jumped up to 3rd quickest. Daniel Day, 27th in the owner's points coming in. It's hard to tell where these times are lining up, though. Talked about Eric and Ray, talked about Ish Taylor. Seth Cole is 14th quickest right now at 11.44. And Seth had to make it in on speed. He's 58th in the owner's points. William Duncan is the slowest right now at a 12.65 and 33rd in the owner's points. Not terribly safe on points. Robert Pollard is 19th quickest. He had to make it in on speed. Not much to say there on that guy. Eric Powers is 19th quickest now at an 11.58. Robert Paul 20th quickest. For Eric Powers, 40th in the points. He pretty much had to make it out on speed. Amy Shelley knows that she will race. She's 3rd in the points and she's 6th quickest on the board. So a great job for Amy Shelley right now. Dylan Young just jumped up to 4th quickest. We're nowhere close to those times yet. They're still 4/10 off the top 6. Henry Powers is 8th right now at 11:26. He is 10th in the points coming in. And we talked about Jim Casella. So let's figure out who would be 18th in comparison. That was an 11:13. That's Dylan Young's time. 4th quickest in this session is 18th quickest from the other session. Let's watch the 90. Can he improve his time at all? Henry Powers, 9th quickest in this session. Jay Stella just jumped up. Sorry for freezing it there, but I mean, we're not talking about points. I'm looking at the speeds. Oh my god. 18th quickest in that set in the first group. Okay, now Dylan Young just jumped up to number 1. But 18th quickest in that other group would be good enough for like 7th quickest. Okay, now speed's starting to pick up here, but is it too late? Amy Shelley's all by herself. Where's a group of cars? Could Allie Nelson jump up? Speed. These are the final laps for these drivers. 19th quickest. What's the time for Allie Nelson? 11:46 is her fastest. No, doesn't jump. Can Ashley LaPlante jump when following Dylan Young? 25th quickest. Yes, jumps up to 8th. Here's a group of cars. Sam Young, 16th quickest right now. What does the time end up looking like for Sam Young? No. Amy Shelley gonna try it. Matt Dixon jumped up to 10th quickest. Did the time count? No, it did not. And so, that is it for group number 2. A much slower group at the same exact conditions. The track not playing favorites to group number 2 here today. Wow. So from this group, we know that Dylan Young, Ish Taylor, Charles Sanford, Austin LaPlante, Ashley Brock, Kenny Bale, and Eric Enrage will get in on their speed. It's hard to tell who else will, though. Oh my god, a rough track here this weekend for these drivers. Not playing favorites at all. Congrats, though, to Jeff James on the pole. A great job for Jeff. Minute 10:31 gets him the pole speed. And the top 6, heck, the top 11 from Group 1 will be the top 11 starters. That is absolutely amazing. With that, though, that's been qualifying for Joshua Tree. If you enjoyed, leave a like. We'll see you for the race. This is going to be one of your wild card weekends, definitely. I'll see you next time.